never pay debt collections. Is it true? My name is Michael Waslick. I'm one of the lawyers at Ricardo and Waslick here in Florida, and together with my partner, Jason Ricardo, I help people just like you overcome debt collection with dignity. And today I'm going to tell you whether you should ever pay debt collections. Now, if you've been on YouTube for a hot minute and you've been looking for information about how to deal with debt collectors, you've probably run across one of these videos that tell you should never pay debt collections. And you're probably wondering, is that true? So let's dig in and find out. Before we know whether it makes sense for you to never pay a debt collection, we have to figure out, number one, how is debt collection currently affecting your life? And number two, what's your goal? How do you want your life to change in regard to that debt collection? And knowing those two things is going to affect your strategy. It's going to affect whether it makes sense for you to agree with the never pay debt collection theory that you've seen all over YouTube. So there's a couple different ways that most people interact with debt collectors. Number one, they may be getting phone calls, letters, or other communications like emails and text messages from debt collectors telling them that they have to pay a debt. Number two, they may see a debt collection appear on their credit report. And number three, they may find out that a debt collector is taking them to court or is suing them for the debt. And some people may be experiencing two or even all three of those situations. For most people, the never pay debt collection theory makes the most sense when you're addressing specifically only the credit reporting situation. And here's why. When a debt collector puts an item on your credit report, they are reporting that you owe money on an account and that you haven't paid it yet. And when they put that on there, as long as it's current, as long as it's truthful, as long as it's accurate, that item will normally stay on your credit report, even if you pay the debt. Paying the debt doesn't take it off your credit report. It doesn't trigger any kind of obligation in the debt collector to remove it from your credit report. It stays there unless they remove it or unless you successfully dispute it as inaccurate, obsolete, or some other unverifiable situation. If your goal is to remove it from your credit report, you only have two options. Number one, if the information on your credit report is inaccurate, obsolete, or unverifiable, and you dispute it with the credit reporting agency, they have a duty to investigate and either delete information they can't verify or correct information that's not correct. And if it's beyond the time limit for reporting, which is usually 7 years for negative information, then they have to remove it entirely. Now, if you looked at your credit report and you are unable to identify any ways in which the information is inaccurate, obsolete, or unverifiable, then you have option number two, which is negotiating with the debt collector for what's called a pay for delete. A pay for delete is simply an agreement between you and the debt collector that if you pay some amount, usually full price or pretty close to it, they in return will remove their line item from your credit report. Now, if you've seen any of our other videos about negotiating with debt collectors, you know, get that agreement in writing. Don't give up any money or payment information before you have a deal, and make sure it expressly states the terms that you're agreeing to. So what if it's not a credit reporting issue? What if something else is going on? Let's say you're getting letters or phone calls from a debt collector and you just want it to stop. If your goal is to stop letters and phone calls or other communications from debt collectors, there's a much easier way to deal with that. You have a right under federal law to send what's called a cease and desist letter to the debt collector, a do not contact letter. And what you do is you tell them in writing that you want them to stop contacting you. Send it certified mail, return receipt, so you can prove that they got it. And then after they got that letter, if they reach out to you in any way, except for certain very limited exceptions, then you can actually sue them, make them pay you money, and punish them for intruding on your privacy. Now, there's one risk of sending a do not contact letter to a debt collector, and that is this. If the debt is large enough, you may get moved to the top of the stack as somebody they're looking at filing a lawsuit against, and then you have to go to court and answer to the debt that way. For some people, that risk is too great. It may be easier for you to simply ignore the letters, ignore the phone calls, ignore any other communications you're getting, and avoid the risk of being hauled into court. Now, in some cases, it's good to get sued. I'm going to put a link on the screen now to our video which talks about when that is true. What happens if your debt collector has already filed a lawsuit against you or is garnishing your wages because they got a judgment against you some time ago? If you've already been sued by a debt collector, then you need to understand the pros and cons of your court case, understand whether you're likely to win or they're likely to win, and whether they're going to be able to make you pay against your will. You should find a lawyer in your state to help you determine what your course of action should be. So for example, if you're in Florida, go ahead and hit the click to call link that we've pinned in the description below. And if you're in some other state, you'll want to look for a lawyer in your area that specializes in debt defense or debt collection lawsuits or FDCPA lawsuits. Depending on your state law, depending on your particular court case, depending on your particular facts, you may decide it makes sense for you to reach a settlement agreement with your debt collector that involves you paying some amount of money, or you may not. You may decide it's better to fight, beat them, win, get rid of them forever, and maybe even make them pay you. So if you're dealing with debt collection, go ahead and tell us in the comments below what kind of debt collection you're dealing with. Are you dealing with letters or phone calls? Are you dealing with credit reporting? Are you dealing with court action? Tell us who you're dealing with. Tell us what state you're in. Tell us what your goal is. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to get them off of your credit report? Are you trying to stop that court action? Are you just trying to get the phone calls and letters to stop? Tell us in the comments. We do our best to answer every comment that we get, either in the comment section or with another video just like this one. And if this video has given you some sense of hope or relief, hit that like button so I know that you want to see more just like this. Now, if you're dealing with debt collection and you want more information, I'm going to put a video on the screen right now that you should watch. I think it's going to help you a lot. And if you're in Florida and you already know you need help with a debt collection issue, hit that click to call link in the description below. Call for an appointment with one of our attorneys. We will give you a free 30-minute appointment to talk about your Florida debt collection issue. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.